My name is Adriana Becerra, and I chose to do my research assignment on women's change of fashion throughout the end of the 20th century. We first start off with the 1970s, which we saw many women sporting very flamboyant and extreme bright colors. We also saw many women wearing very long flowing skirts. There was also an emergence of pant flares, with the motto being the whiter the better. Pant flares soon turned into bell bottoms. Hair was always worn very long and natural. Many women also began wearing pantsuits to any and all occasions. There were leisure suits and jumpsuits and even track suits. And I think many women began to wear these different suits because of the emergence of the second wave of feminism, which began in the mid 60s. Many women felt that they were no longer inferior to men, so they decided to wear typically a masculine article of clothing, which would be a suit, and they decided that they would wear it as well to show that they were not inferior but equal. The next decade was the 1980s, where we saw many women wearing silk blouses. That was all the rage. Dress pants were very high-waisted and form-fitting and very pleated. Scarves made a huge comeback during this time. Denim jeans were very popular, especially those that were dyed and bleached and had holes in them. Prints with cartoon and movie characters were very big during this time. The palette during this era was very bright and many neon colors. Belts and bracelets were also very necessary for any outfit. Brand name began to be a huge deal during this time period, and women wore very much makeup during this time. During the 80s, we saw the end of the second wave of feminism. With more women beginning to work and go to college, I feel that many women didn't think that feminism was such a big thing that was needed anymore, because many of them saw that they were doing many of the same things that men had been doing for centuries, which would be like going to work and going to college. So they didn't think that it was needed anymore, because they felt, oh, well, now we're equal because we're getting to do all these different things. The next decade was the 1990s, where everything came in denim. Many women also wore very black leggings with oversized sweaters. The 70s style came back with bell bottoms and tie-dye and very long straight hair. There was also a return to very solid colors. Many women also made their own jewelry. Birkenstocks were very popular during this time, which is actually something that is seen today. Turtlenecks were also very big, coming in cardigans and sweaters. The 90s saw also a turn to more of a grunge look, with many women wearing flannels. This also saw the beginning of the third wave of feminism, and I feel like the third wave came to be because many of these women now saw that things had not really changed. They were still being treated as inferior, and so this generation saw that we needed the reemergence of feminism to create that equality. And I think this is where the grunge look comes in, because, women were just feeling like they were inferior, and so the one thing that they could control was their fashion and their makeup, so they chose to control that instead. The next decade we saw was the 2000s, which was very minimalistic, and it was a return to a more feminine time. A lot of women wore very mini skirts and short shorts and tank tops. There was a return of very bright colors. The 60s regained popularity with trench coats and pea coats and tunics. There was a lot of boho-inspired dresses and skirts. We also saw the emergence of hipsters with knee-high boots. The 60s cocktail dresses became popular, especially the little black dress, which is something that many women still have, and many fashion journalists feel that is a staple in any woman's closet. There's also harem pants and gypsy tops. We also saw the return of aviator sunglasses, and there was more of the punk trends of the 80s came back with acid wash jeans and fishnet stockings. This time period also saw kind of the slowing of the third wave of feminism, and it's also almost parallels between the 1970s and the 1980s, when in the 70s feminism was very strong, and in the 80s it kind of went away, and we see this again, where in the 90s feminism is very strong, and in the 2000s it kind of slows down again. Um, it was very interesting to see how women's style changed throughout the end of the century, especially after reading America's Woman, where there was an emphasis on women's fashion paralleling women's identity at the time. I also found it interesting how often styles are recycled. I enjoyed researching and finding more about women's fashion after the 1960s.